Hey, good morning from Circuit World in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Good morning to you. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Dr. Whaley, Dr. Raymond Tidman. Good morning, Jeremy. Did you see what he did to me, Emily? I mean, I know it's Christmas, we're at Circuit World, but he puts these Nintendo. Don't purchase. Well, yes, come purchase. I got to be careful. We want you to come to Circuit World and purchase all of these great Christmas gifts. But I have to stay away from them, Emily. Can you help me do that? Okay, moving right along. We will have by the way, I'm your host, BKP. We will have Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley and Raymond Tidman. We will have the All-Star Political Panel. I know the Humane Society of Blue Ridge is trying to get over there. They have a couple things going on this morning. We may not have a Pet of the Week. But, all right, so yesterday, and I can't wait to get the All-Star Political Panel on here, okay? Because the All-Star Political Panel, Joanne, Rick, and Bruce, election night coverage. I will never forget the panel was all together on election night coverage, and we're going to talk about that because some things have finally come into light of what happened election night. Yesterday, Georgia state senators held a hearing, okay? And there's a couple takeaways in the hearing that is amazing. You will not find this on NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, because even the video, see, these are the people, right, that were, as you could see over your shoulder, the buildings burning down in the background. These are the people that were telling you, hey, these are peaceful protests for the most part. Wait a minute, aren't the buildings burning? So yesterday we had, and I want to share this with you, we're going to play two videos. Yesterday we had a video in this hearing at the center there. What's the center the Atlanta Hawks play in? State Farm Arena, okay? So at State Farm Arena, you were told that on election night, a water main break, at State Farm Arena would delay election results. Breaking news, a water main break. Well, we come to find out that maybe a leaky seal on a commode or something. I'm saying that jokingly, but it wasn't a water main break, okay? But that was the big announcement at 10 o'clock. We got to shut down the State Farm Arena in Atlanta because there's a water main break and we cannot count these ballots. But we find out later that was not true. But when they said they had to shut down, they said everybody's got to go home. Nobody can stay. Well, yesterday a very revealing video came out. You're not seeing it on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC. No. They don't want you to see this. So let's play the first one. This is the water main break that night that we know is fraudulent now. Play the first video, Emily.
Has a history of voting issues, and despite careful preparations tonight, another one causing a long delay for people processing thousands of absentee ballots. Joe Hankey is at State Farm Arena. Joe, of all the times for a plumbing issue.
That is right, Cheryl. Early this morning, we were told there was a water main break above the room I'm standing in here at State Farm Arena. And right now they are counting the absentee ballots. But earlier today, because of that water main break, they lost about 2 hours of work on the absentee ballot processing. So they are trying to make up that time now. They currently are getting through the absentee ballots. All the ballots being processed behind me are the ballots that were received today by the 7 p.m. Fulton County deadline, or state deadline, for absentee ballots to be received by the counties. They currently don't have an estimate of when the absentee ballot counting will be done here in Fulton County, but as of 7:30, they still had 30,000 ballots, according to the county, to process. We're told, of course, they're going to go through every single one of those ballots, and once they are done counting them, then the absentee process will be complete. But the good news is no ballots or election-related machine were damaged by that water main break early this morning. Around Fulton County, 99% of the precincts, it was smooth sailing, very few delays, short lines around the county. So that is the good news. And now they're on to the counting process, just a little delayed here in Fulton County tonight. Cheryl?
You ever wondered what
What a time for a water main break. What a time for a plumbing issue. No ballots were harmed in this water main break, especially the ballots they found in the suitcase under the table. Now, if you pay attention to that news report on election night, that was from election night, if you pay attention to that, that's the room they're reporting from where they found suitcases of ballots. Now, the State Farm Arena or whatever it is there in Atlanta, they have security cameras everywhere. They call it the slip and fall cameras, okay? That's where the Hawks play basketball. So the Hawks donated. Now listen to this. It's another whole thing. They donated this arena. Interesting. Why would they donate the arena? And then, by the way, they told Fulton County, hey, we've got 300 people on the payroll with nothing to do. You could use them to help with the election. So what do we get? Popcorn vendors, beer vendors? I mean, I'm serious. You watched the hearings yesterday. I'm not making this up. You can't make this SHI asterisk up. You can't make it up. Okay? So they have 300 people. It's on tape, okay? Working the election. Who paid those people to work that election? Holy crap. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting wound up. But anyway, listen to this. So the water main break, right? Now, the arena has what's called slip and fall cameras, meaning they're everywhere. You just don't realize it, but they're everywhere because if you slip and fall, as they say, and then they can immediately pull the tape anywhere in the arena and see exactly what happened. That way they can use it in court. Where would they use slip and fall cameras? In court, right? The media won't pick this up. So finally, now, a big shout out to GOP chair for all of the people. Now, listen to me very close. For all the people that keep yelling, where is the Republican Party? Where is the GOP? Well, let me tell you something. If you go back, David Schaefer, okay, if you go back, the GOP chair in Georgia is David Schaefer. If you will go back to his Twitter account, you can go all the way back to election night where he tweeted out and he told the whole world, hey, we were told to go home. We were told there was no more counting. He blew the whistle. David Schaefer and other Republicans blew the whistle that night, and they've been fighting it ever since. Finally, we got the video. The video. So I'm going to play this for you, and at 8:30 in the morning, election morning, remember they said there's still 30,000 ballots to be counted, right? At 8:30 in the morning, there's a table with a skirt around it all the way to the ground, and you can't see what's under it. Watch this testimony yesterday as they make all the poll watchers, everybody leave. But then they find suitcases that could have anywhere from 10 to 15,000 ballots per suitcase under the table with nobody watching. Play video 2.
At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
Inconsistent with your statutes and rules. Now pay attention to that. These ballots, this is slip and fall camera. This is the cameras that this arena uses to go to court with. These are you could check the timeline on the bottom. You could scroll through the timeline. The suitcases are coming out. Nobody's there. They're told to go home. Now, statutes and regulations election. I'm going to say one more thing. We're going to close, have our Ask the Doc, but we're really going to open this box up in the All-Star Political Panel. Let me tell you why. Now, the professor, one more thing, I promise we'll get out. Professor Eastman was amazing yesterday. So if you're hearing, why doesn't the governor call a special session? Why doesn't the House of Representatives and the Senate call a special session? Well, you will hear our House and Senate say we have to have 3/5 majority under the Constitution of the state of Georgia to hold a special session. Then you will hear the other power is, and we don't have that, and the other power is the governor to call a special session. Well, Professor Eastman put them all on the hot spot yesterday and said the Constitution, the United States Constitution, overrides your state constitution. So there's no need for the governor. There's no need for 3/5 majority. They could just have a special session because the Constitution requires your elected officials to make the determination not because of a vote count. All right. Keep in mind, the Constitution never mentions vote count. We continue to hear that Joe Biden got more votes. Well, if you can find them in a suitcase and pull them out with nobody looking, well, hell, Joe Biden's always going to get more votes. The Constitution, our forefathers never wrote vote count in the Constitution. So it's got nothing to do. If you cannot determine a winner, not by vote count, based on statutes and regulations in your election that were not followed through with, which we have many, then the obligation goes by the Constitution to your elected officials together and appoint the electors for the Electoral College. It's that simple. Don't believe the bull SHI asterisk from anyone else. Maybe I should go to break and get the doctors in here. The All-Star Political Panel, don't miss that. Dr. Whaley, Dr. Raymond Tidman, right after this.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hey, folks, we're back, and it's now time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley and Dr. Raymond Tidman. We always want to open up with thanking North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital. And Dr. Whaley, good morning. We're in Blue Ridge, Georgia, Circuit World. We do have so much going on, but we have some cancer-related questions that came in this week that you want to address right in the beginning.
It's all tied up together.
It is.
First of all, I think that there's been so much tremendous publicity about the vaccine we've talked about week after week after week, and about the who gets it first and so forth, that it generated these questions. And I would say the day before yesterday, within 4 hours, I had 3 different first county, and it was this county, large employer, and then industry group for hospice and home care come to me and ask my advice about how do we handle this business, about do we take the vaccine, who gets priority for the vaccine. So the 2 questions that I got the most, and this one here is kind of easy, and it takes us back to somebody. It says, my father is taking. Do you watch TV?
Yes.
If you watch TV, you've seen this advertisement for Nevo Ipi. And it's got that's an immunotherapy. It's about $25,000 a month, that therapy, but they don't tell you what it's for. But it's a great ad, and not only that, it's not a 30-second ad, it's a 1-minute ad. So if you get stuck, anyway. So my father is taking the Nevo Ipi immunotherapy that you discussed in January. Well, that was just before the virus. And now he is getting tested for COVID. Is there a concern? All right, the second question comes right on its heels, and it's got to do with prioritizing who's going to get the virus and who's going to get the vaccine. I have a cancer diagnosis. How many people is this? Thousands of them. I have completed chemo and radiation for breast cancer. What do you recommend about taking the COVID vaccine? No, should I take it or should I not take it? Now, you and your all-star panel have had anti-vacciners on your panel.
I like my anti-vacciner. Don't you talk about my anti-vacciner?
Well, I don't understand, but you got big. I'm not trying to say there's any anti-vacciners that's sitting at this table, but anyhow. So,
all right.
First of all, we're not going to go into numbers at the moment, but at this exact moment, if you've been paying any attention, Georgia, which was way up here at the top in terms of its incidence, it was like the 8th ranked state for a couple months ago. It's 8 from the bottom now. So even though we have a lot of stuff going on in Georgia, we're a lot better off than a lot of the rest of them. And my wife keeps asking me about the death rate. Okay, in Georgia, both the hospitalization rate and the case rate are up about 25% in the last week compared to the 3 and 4 weeks prior, and deaths are up 35%. So, don't tell me that people ain't dying right and left. More people died in the state Wednesday than have died at the peak of the thing. Okay, so let's put that first thing up there. All right. So, CDC panel met day before yesterday, and there's an article in today's newspaper about prioritizing who is going to get the vaccine. So what does that say?
Should cancer survivors be prioritized for COVID vaccine?
Ray? Now, if you just had a limited number of doses of the vaccine in this community, where would it go first?
It would go to my old line China, and then the healthcare workers. Okay,
well, so what he says there is a little inverted in the way the thing came out. It would be the hospital healthcare workers and the fine China sort of at the same level, okay?
Right. But what you're saying is what I have read as far as when we say prioritizing the virus is what you said. I mean, you
correct.
Right,
All right.
inverted it, but
Now, I gave Ray right there. He didn't have to hold it up. I gave Ray this week's edition, this month's edition of the Atlanta Medicine. It's got 7 articles in there about disparate medical care, indicating that there's white privilege, or there's economic privilege, or there's geographical privilege. We would be considered geographical privilege in the mountains. And that there are pockets of people living close together who have a higher incidence of the virus, and they tend to be minorities of skin color or economic minorities in this disparate medical care. And the New York Times is saying that we need to prioritize, after this first tier of healthcare workers and the old, that as you then begin to decide whether you're going to send it to Fannin County or Randolph County, you want to send more of it to Randolph County because they've got more people in these various high risk groups. Okay, you got that all in your head there?
yes, I'm listening.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the part about the IPI and the NEVO, and I'm going to put up that next chart there. This is from the second Friday in January, and we were talking about liver cancer. You remember that?
Yes.
All right. So Ray, I always have these big old things. So you start over here where some poor guy's got cancer, and you go all the way through here to the bottom. But when you get into here where you've got advanced cancer and all of your surgeries and everything doesn't work, and it starts saying systemic therapy and then immunotherapy, this business about the NEVO and IPI was brand new in January. We didn't have a daggum thing we could do for liver cancer, and now we do, and it's getting pretty good. All right, so drop that one and then pick up the next one. This comes from 1 week ago when I was trying to see read what that says.
How cancer immunotherapy
All right, there you go.
is helping speed a COVID-19 vaccine.
What's the date on that?
Immunotherapy.
What's the date?
November 17th, 2020.
Okay, November 17th. That's right. That's 3 weeks ago. Okay, so we had this. We talked about this at that point. Pull that thing down. So, the science of the immune modulation to treat cancer, where it's not chemotherapy, it's not radiation, it takes your immunity, fires up the T cells. Remember, we've been talking about the vaccine being either a T cell or a B cell, the rest of it T cells, then to go in and kill cancer, has made a tremendous advance in the care of cancer. I always keep going back to Jimmy Carter because it's public. Jimmy Carter had melanoma in his liver, lung, and brain, and he got the drug Keytruda, and he has been going fine for what now 4 years on the drug Keytruda. That is the NEVO is a Keytruda type drug. So it has made tremendous strides in the treatment of cancer. Okay, go to this next one.
And Bill, he was a compassionate use, wasn't he? They did it.
Yeah. No, yes, right. He was a compassionate use. Okay, now, if you take the predictors of people that are going to end up in the hospital or end up in the ICU, we've always been talking about comorbidities, and what we used obesity, we've used chronic lung disease, we've used chronic kidney disease. If you stop and look at them, to get in the hospital, the very first one, the highest risk is the immunotherapy. In other words, the NEVO, that stuff, if you've had that or getting it or have had it, then that's the highest risk you have if you get the COVID virus to end up in the hospital. The second is hematologic malignancies. That's the lymphomas and leukemias, which lower your immunity. And then you've got heart disease. After heart disease, you throw in a couple more sort of low lymphocyte count and people getting corticosteroids, and then you get into the high blood pressure, chronic kidney disease, and obesity. Okay? Now, if you get into just the respiratory illness portion that it ain't going to get in the hospital, after the immunotherapy, there's fine china, greater than 65 years, there's heart disease, and then there's people that have smoked or have formerly smoked. So, okay, you can pull that one off.
On that graphic, are those patients that are in the immunotherapy group, are they immune compromised such that the vaccine might not work on them?
That's a great question. It's undergoing clinical trials at the moment, and the answer is it seems to work, but not as good as it's going to work for everybody else. So, how I want to answer this question is, first of all, we're going to come back for a minute to want to raise big issues, and that's lost medical care. I think that, and that thing I gave Ray also emphasizes this. Once this vaccine, this virus got into about March, and people began to get into the hospital and come out of their primary care doctor's office and come out of getting their blood pressure checked and their blood sugar checked and everything else, we went into a disaster point. One, where people couldn't get medical care because they weren't going to go to the doctor's office, and this whole telemedicine, telehealth thing hadn't gotten organized to the point where it worked very well. And then the primary care doctors have always been bastions of individuality, and to work on some sort of a national and at least statewide, and let's pick metropolitan Atlanta. You got 9 different hospital systems and bunches of different primary care docs, where patients end up in a hospital system. The primary care doc that takes care of them is not part of that hospital system. How do you smooth their going home and they're getting picked up by somebody? It's just really complicated. I learned a lot. I learned a lot in there. But to the point of who are you going to prioritize? It's so complicated that the answer I don't have, but I would say yes, the cancer survivor that has had immunotherapy goes in there with the high-risk China. It looks like when you take it that way that the overweight and the high blood pressure, there's a group of diabetic support group that wants them to be right behind the high-risk China. So everybody's got their own sort of advocacy group. But anyhow, to answer the question, one, when these people say, should we take the vaccine, and that's what I got from the counties and the employers. One of the employers want to know, can we require our employees to have the vaccine to return to work? The question's hard to answer, isn't it? The one from the county was, should our first responders, our firefighters and the rest of that stuff, be required to take the vaccine? Remember, we say healthcare workers are going to get it, but can we require them to take the vaccine? I think that's a legal question I haven't got the answer to.
But I think it's a good question, and they're going together because the big word in this is require, and that's been a discussion for a long time. Is where are we going to be as far as requiring?
Well, that's every year it happens. I mean, in our local hospital, they require you to get a flu shot. They can't hold you down and put the needle in you. If you choose not to get the flu shot, then you've got to mask up and do all these other protections in lieu of the vaccine. So they kind of make it hard on your life if you don't get the flu shot. But they can't hold you down and stick a needle in you.
Right, but they can restrict your privileges. Right. And you may not be able to operate.
Yeah, but this is a hospital, and I understand this because you're directly dealing with people with health issues, immunity. But I'm talking the private sector.
Okay, let's go private sector.
Or even the county, the government.
All right, you know that
it's not a hospital.
We're big-time international travelers.
Yes.
Delta's going to start serving Rome, Italy over the Christmas holiday. To get on that flight, you have to have a certificate of a PCR test done within the 3 days prior to getting on. Just like if you went in to get a colonoscopy or surgical procedure.
Right.
You will be tested with the rapid test at the boarding of the aircraft. You will be tested with the rapid test when you get to Italy and you get off the plane only 9 or 10 hours later.
By the Italians.
By the Italians. And rather than just saying, I'm going to be staying at the such and such hotel, you got to give them a very tight place of where you're going to be and access to your cell phone that they could ping and find where you actually went. Now,
can I say something there?
Yeah.
But everything you just said is a choice you're making
to participate in the private world.
If you choose to do that.
That's right.
But if you are already Because if you choose to do that, that's the big word, required. You know going in all this is required. But if you work at Business A, and you've worked at Business A for 10 years, and then Business A sends out a memo that says the vaccine will be available on X day, and you will have 30 days from that day to continue employment here. That's the required side. Now, hospitals, I understand where you're coming from. But you know what I'm saying? All right, so we don't need to touch that rail, but that's what
we're
I'm
going to
saying.
touch it right now.
Okay, go.
All right, I was the medical director of the largest forced drug screening program in the world. What was it? Department of Transportation for airlines, bus drivers, truck drivers. If you chose to continue to drive a truck, that's a lot of people up here are truck drivers, operate a train, or be a flight attendant, a mechanic, or pilot with an airline, you had to submit to a drug test today, to random drug testing at intervals at not your choice. Well, that everybody says, oh, you can't do that. Well, that's exactly what this is. So if it's determined by, let's say, national health officials and aviation industry and so forth, that to work as a flight attendant, a pilot, or in contact with the public, you have to be immunized against the virus to protect our customers.
All right.
Then they have the right to that.
Right,
Just
but
exactly
you used
like
another word.
what?
Determined. If it not just work. If it's determined.
Yeah.
So do you understand what I'm saying? So if it's determined, there's a lot going on out there. Who's going to be the authority that determines these things?
I'll tell you how that works in the FAA.
All right.
Rule
Don't
making.
want to get sidetracked. Used to have a business, 70 employees. We would receive a better insurance rate if we chose to be a company that did drug testing.
Yeah, or had no smokers.
Right. Drug testing. No. And when you came in as an employee, okay, we gave you forms in your packet that you were aware we would do this. Right. You signed on. We would get better insurance rates. So are we going to get, is this all going to come through? We're going to get better insurance rates if we require the vaccine, one thing after another, whatever. I don't want to get sidetracked.
But that's not sidetracked. That's right. All right, but let's get back. So we're going to get back to the issue about what this virus is doing to cancer and health. Okay.
Yeah, let's do
this
that.
is Ray Tidman's favorite thing. I put up my little graph right here. The backlog created by suspending screening programs, all kinds of screening programs, starting with the weeks of a lockdown. How many people don't get screened for? And it's every single solid. If you just look at it, it's one of those like that. When you've gotten to the 6th week of a lockdown in this country, you would have something like 8 million people that under normal circumstances in that 4 weeks would have had a mammogram, a PSA, a colonoscopy, or some such thing, 8 million within that 4-week period, maybe even more than that. I don't know. But the point is, it's millions of procedures that are not being done. When you get out to 30 weeks or something, I mean, it's like half the population. You're supposed to get a follow-up colonoscopy 1 year after a polyp or 3 years after a polyp. I had a patient in the office today. I said, did you get that colonoscopy we talked about 6 months ago? Now you're overdue by 1.5 years with a pre-malignant polyp that was 2.5 years ago.
Bill, along this same line, I mean, you've got these people running around saying, 1,000 deaths a day. What a terrible, terrible thing. Normal day in America, what are there, 6,000, 7,000 cancer people dying a day?
I don't know, big number.
It's 6 or 7 times more than COVID.
Yeah,
okay?
All right.
So, here we are, we're delaying health care, we're not doing what we know how to do, that is find and diagnose and treat cancer. And we're focused on this one thing because everybody thinks, oh, well, I can get in control of this, And when I get in control of this, I'm the big guy. And it's never worked. It has never worked for outsiders or anyone above you to tell you what to do and why you have to do it and when you have to do it. It's constantly piping up. Everywhere around the world, you've always got some hero that wants to tell other people what to do.
It's like me telling my patient need to lose 40 pounds.
Wait a minute. So let me ask you a question, because I'm hearing this on a daily basis, watching media reports. Dark winter. The next 8 weeks, next 2 months, going to be worse than last year when this all started. The fear that we should be living in, and let me wrap this up. And the daily deaths now are exceeding this number, one thing after another. If Joe Biden is the next president of the United States, he said, I would like to have 100 days of everybody in America wearing a mask. All these things are going on. Now, my thought is, well, wait a minute. Last year, not at this time, but last year when everything started, they were yelling, I mean, screaming daily on TV. We opened the Javits Center, put 3 people in it. We opened a big center in Houston. We put ships on both ends of the country, never put a person in there. And now it's supposed to be worse. Should there not be a column called COVID-related deaths?
No, there should be, but basically they ought to own their mistakes. All of the planning that was done for COVID assumed a 10-fold worse lethality for this virus. They thought the virus was going to be 10 times worse than it turned out to be. They made all their plannings around that. Once they figured out and found out, well, not that many people are dying. Now people are dying, but not 10-fold what we thought they were. Then they should have backed up and said, well, let's rethink this a little bit.
People are dying.
But go to El Paso right now. El Paso has got people in tents because the hospitals are full. El Paso has got bodies in the refrigerator truck that brings fruit to your market. El Paso is devastated. There are small towns in Idaho and the West that are 100% full. The closest tertiary hospitals 150 miles away, and their ICUs are almost full. Now, Georgia's way down here at the bottom. We're doing. I know we're doing fine. We had more deaths yesterday than we've had ever. But our ICUs have got beds. The fatality rate in the hospital is very low, 3%, 5%. And that's in the hospital. So the fatality rate of the guy who gets the COVID virus positive test is still extremely low, extremely low. And these chicken little people that are talking about this, there was a big article about it yesterday, and I even heard it on the news about children between the ages of 3 and 14 having this huge immune reaction thing. There's still, you're talking less than 25 or 30 cases of that in this entire epidemic.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, because I get this great opportunity, folks. I love this. I'm here, you're out there, and I know you're enjoying it. I get this great opportunity every week to spend with these 2 amazing doctors. My dad, I'm going to go back to that really quick. A couple years ago, and I basically quote, Dad, are you going to go to Florida this year? Yes, I've got to figure out how to get down there. My doctor says, with my health condition, if I get a bad flu or pneumonia, I'm done. I'll never make it through. If I get it, my dad told me this. I'll never make it through. Now, at this time, there's not COVID, or he could have added that to the list, is what I'm saying. Okay,
yeah, right.
But he said, if I get pneumonia in the winter, if I get the flu or pneumonia, I'm done.
So that's why it's better to be in Florida than Pennsylvania, right?
Well, actually,
you're coming to he made his own decision. He asked his doctor, he got informed, and he made his own decision.
But he did die with COVID. That's what I'm saying. He got COVID, but with his health. So I'm not making, I always say I'm not making light, but I get concerned that we shouldn't have a category that says death with COVID
rather than from. Right. Exactly right.
You know, I
Brian,
really get
let me
Well, wait,
concerned
the
with
40% of these deaths are still in nursing homes.
Right.
Exactly.
And a third of those people are on hospice in the nursing homes. Now, you're on hospice, say you're
I
not going to
would
get
say,
treated.
what is the percentage of those deaths at that age group that you could say this year a bad flu, this year the pneumonia, or now COVID, and the odds of this patient making it through?
So I'm
Do you
going
understand what I
to
just
share something with you that,
Okay.
that is at an intellectual level outrageous, but it's happening right now. As you get through a year, you can look back at the mortality rate for all diseases for the year. Okay? The question is, when looking back at 2020, are there excess deaths versus 2019?
As of now, there seem to be, yeah.
But are there?
Yeah.
Okay? We don't know yet.
No.
But there was the first article that came out from Johns Hopkins that showed that there are no net excess deaths in certain age groups, the high-risk age groups, from COVID, which meant that COVID is taking out people that are close to death on average anyway. As a society, now that's not an individual thing, but as a society, you got to back up and say, what are we doing here that we are encroaching and getting into all kinds of people's lives when we may not have a pandemic that is taking out 10 times more people than we thought? All right, let me throw another number at you. Everyone talks about schools and what a mess the schools have been. All these children have been deprived of school. We have some areas of the country where essentially children have not been educated for a year. Where do you get that back? We have 500 kids that have died of suicide in that 1 to 12th grade so far this year. 500. Do you know how many children have died of COVID? Now we're talking about 60 million children with an M. 60 million children. 4 children have died of COVID. And we have shut schools down. We've run around and said, oh, we got to shut all these children down, stop their sports, not let them advance, let them be dumb, and we've lost 4 children.
Well, and everybody's come out in the last few weeks, you know, BKP, and said
closing schools is an idiot
schools.
move.
Well, I said that's the first day
We've
we
been saying
started.
that all along.
I said they need to be open, and when a kid gets the virus, you send him home. You don't shut down the classroom, and you don't send everybody in there to fumigate the place. And if your football team and your quarterback's got the daggum illness, he goes home, and the guy that's supposed to take over for him plays. Now, I was proven right this last week when I think it was Denver Broncos had all their coaches out. Was it Denver? Had all of their quarterbacks out, and they had to use a wide receiver off the taxi squad, and one of their running backs played quarterback, and they didn't score a touchdown, had 1 field goal. But they put the team on the field, and they did what you do when you play sports, and you got to just fill the slot.
a local school? I call it local.
You like it a local school?
No. It came here. I don't want to lose it. A local school, not in Fannin County. Okay, it's not here, but it's in another state. But it's close enough. It's within a 40-mile range. A local school system reported their math scores and the struggle they're having with math scores, and the decline.
Yeah, real decline.
Real decline, based on the fact these kids.
What's the number?
These kids
20-something percent it was.
Yeah, these kids
Decline?
are not, math scores. That these kids are in rural area, don't have internet, don't have options of computers. Some people economically don't have the computers, don't have the parental structure in the house. I just go to the whole list. Their math scores are a disaster.
Okay, I want to stop you there a minute, because you focused on people that don't have access to the internet. I want to go back. You got the tip of the iceberg. The whole iceberg is that we stopped giving standardized tests, right? So no standardized tests have been given in this period. Georgia's are eliminated them. Well, they just got through giving the standardized test in a whole state. I won't say which state, but it happens to be a state right here. That is, quote, not a standardized test, but they give it at the fall break every year to their students. They did averagely okay in English and reading comprehension and writing, and they had the same percentage decrease in math, and these are kids who have are being taught remotely. And the reason
right.
is mathematics is like dominoes falling over. Whereas English comprehension is, you read a story and you learn about it and they talk about it. If you don't learn this domino, the next domino and the next domino can't fall, because it's built one step on each other. But you can't, there's not any way in this video business when you're working by yourself and you don't have a teacher to correct what you did. And so math needs mentors in the classroom that say, Johnny, you did a really good job, but, and then Johnny has to learn a concept. Well, that's not part of English comprehension, learning how to speak a language. That's all memory. He's got to learn this concept before he can learn the concept that it's built upon.
Now, not to take too much time away from
It's
that,
got a lot to do with, hey, this has got a lot to do with cancer.
You're correct. You're 100% correct, but what it is, let's say you have internet on Monday, okay? Now, English, you know, you could start, and what is it called, the syllabus or whatever. Teacher hands out and says, these are the 10 writing assignments we're going to work on this semester. Yeah. Okay, you're 100%. Dominoes are not there. You can read in the morning or read in the afternoon and study. So if you can get online on Monday and you're working on your English assignments, you can't get online Tuesday, then it's not the end of the world. You do it Tuesday afternoon. But in math, even if you have internet, if you can't get to where you need to, where the teacher's going to be live at that time, you can ask a question, then and you're 100% right.
But she's got to really be able to see what you did.
Exactly.
She's got to see how you solved the problem.
You're 100% right.
You gave her an answer that was wrong, but she's got to be able to look at your paper and figure out what step did you do wrong to get the wrong answer. And that you can't do that on the video, as best I can tell. And I can tell you that I remember very distinctly in high school dissecting a frog.
Get these kids back
I dissected
in school.
a frog. I did chemistry experiments where we had smoke in the room, and then Johnny broke the beaker. You don't do chemistry experiments.
Don't bring up bad moments for me, Doctor.
You don't do chemistry experiments.
And your hair's white from
exactly. I mean.
You don't, but you don't.
No, you can't do chemistry.
You don't dissect a frog at home.
Right.
You don't do physics experiments at home. You can't do chemistry at home. You can't do wood shop at home.
Bill, let me kind of go back to.
I want to get back to COVID, but that was good because
we're talking about COVID.
I get it.
We're talking about. I mean, we're talking about patients missing their cancer screening and what a catastrophe that is building up from that.
From our children all the way.
Okay, we're back to cancer screening now.
Okay,
right.
But my point being is that can we learn something from this? Okay, in the future there will be something that happens where some hero is going to run out and say this issue matters, nothing else does, and we have to be able to say, hold it a minute. We've determined that cancer screening is an important thing and it saves lives. We've determined that kids going to school is an important thing and it helps them grow up and be good citizens someday. We've determined that controlling blood pressure and diabetes helps people live longer. Now, you're saying that the asteroid's going to hit us next year. That could be a big thing, but I don't know if we're going to stop everything else while we're waiting for that maybe to happen. I mean, but that's what we've had happen here, is that we've had these people come out and say, well, COVID's going to kill hundreds of millions of people on this planet in the next 12 months. Well, it turned out to be wrong. It turned out to be wrong about that number. But in the meantime, they're still running around saying, well, we got to shut these bars down, and these people can't do their business, and they got to go bankrupt, and these kids can't go to school, and all. I mean, you still have all these little tyrants running around acting like they're something, and they are nothing but tyrants. And we've got a society now that's being demoralized and hurt because people aren't getting screened for cancer. Their blood pressure is not being controlled right. Their hypertension, their atherosclerotic heart disease is not being controlled right. And those are 10 times for every one COVID death.
I want to go back to this.
And job security is important.
And job security.
It is. It gets stressful if you're out there every day and you've got a job.
Jobs cure a lot of ills.
All right, I want you to go back to the very first weeks of this virus. And I'm not going to blame this on Fauci or anybody else. But the predictions were we would have 1.5 to 3.5 million deaths
in America,
in the United States. As of yesterday, there have been 1.5 million deaths
in the world.
So what was facts in February and March are different today. I am going to guarantee you that what are facts today are going to be different in February. But let's go back to the original questions, because you're coming up on the daggum expert panel here in a few minutes. First, the immunotherapy, everything else on that list in cancer, yes, that increases your risk. But you're alive today and didn't die of this disease because you had the opportunity to get that treatment. And if I have anything to say about it, you're going to be prioritized up there with the fine china. Now, the second question, and the one that got us all started on this, is when the county asks, should we require our police, fire, and first responders, they have a list saying, do you want to take the vaccine? That's just the way the question was asked, actually. I want to be honest the way this is asked. We have a list here wanting to know whether we should or should not sign up for the vaccine when it becomes available. What's your recommendation? I said, my recommendation is take the vaccine, but take it 8 weeks after the vaccine has been given to me and to other people that have to take it, so you'll know if my hair falls out or my teeth turn green. If my hair doesn't fall out, my teeth don't turn green in the first couple of months.
Or heaven forbid you start speaking Russian.
Yeah, or speaking Russian. Take the daggum vaccine. That was the question from the county. So sign up to take the vaccine. The question from the employer was, can we require that our employees take the vaccine? And that was the question we got into a few minutes ago. And then the question that came from the organization of home health agencies and hospices is, yes, I believe that you will be able to require that your nurses and healthcare workers who go into the home and are doing face-to-face treatment to protect your client should be required to take the vaccine. Now, I may be that may be too much, but that was, so I gave three different answers.
I'm going to miss the next 2 weeks, miss you guys. I'm going to a place where I have to wear an ankle bracelet.
Oh, are they going to let you in?
Yeah, they're going to let me in, but I have to wear an ankle bracelet, waterproof ankle bracelet for 10 days.
Are you serious?
Serious. Part of the deal.
But you chose to do that.
I chose to do it. I get tested before I get on the plane. I get tested when I get off, and I get tested 4 days later. And I got to wear an ankle bracelet for 10 days.
Now, the ankle bracelet is for what? To know
I
where
think
you're
it's my
at?
wife tracking me.
It's GPS.
Ooh, there's a
It's a GPS. You go into your boat. He's gonna do missionary work in the islands.
Yes.
All right.
That's
so
right.
you won't be here for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope you enjoy yourself. You've made the choice to go do that. Anything else, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right. How about you?
Wear your mask all the time that you are not with the group that you are comfortable with their condition. Wear your mask. Don't wear your mask if you're playing golf or outside, nobody's around you. Get out of your house. Go into the doctor, the primary care doctor whose office is open and seeing patients and not trying to do it over the telephone. And get your mammogram and your colonoscopy and your blood sugar checked. And if you're a healthy person, please donate blood.
Okay.
And take your flu shot.
Question.
We have shown that the flu shot this year, seasonal flu shot, does not stop you from getting COVID. But if you get the COVID, it diminishes the percentage that will be hospitalized. And if hospitalized diminishes the percentages that'll go to ICU, it's not a big number, but anything that diminishes you should take.
Okay. Question for both of you.
Yeah.
There's been high profile, we'll use that. High profile people asked if they would take the vaccine. So here on a local level, you are my high profile people. When it comes out and is available, will you take the vaccine?
Yes.
Yes.
Will you take the vaccine?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. When do you think it'd be available in this area, and how will it be?
For Bill and I, probably in the next couple of weeks.
Next couple weeks.
I'm going to say January the 15th, but
Now,
they say it's going to be the last week in
Now, I'm
December.
just going to ask, when you say for Bill and I,
Healthcare workers.
Healthcare
workers. And those
You
healthcare
hit two
workers that
categories.
are right. We're old and we're healthcare workers, and we face COVID.
That was
Yeah, I saw
No,
I
understand
saw
what
an
you're
active patient with COVID Tuesday.
saying. But you will take
I'll take it the day it's available.
takes vaccine, and you say it's the next couple weeks, and it will be categorized.
Well, the next question is it going to be the frozen one at 70 below zero, or is it going to be the one that can be shipped at 14
Right,
degrees?
I saw that the other day.
We're not going to get into that. I'll take either one.
Folks, it's going to be time for our next segment, but let me close up with saying thank you to both the doctors, and especially to Northside or North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for the segment every week.
Georgia Cancer Specialist and Northside Hospital
Specialist.
and everybody else that's involved here.
Got it.
Well, thank them all. And if you want to research, call me office.
Thank you. Right, but don't forget, these segments you could share with your family and friends. You could go to fyntv.com, look at Ask the Doc. All of our segments are there throughout the week. You can share. Also find our YouTube channel, FYN TV Fetch Your News. Look at the playlist, Ask the Doc. You can always share these with your family and friend. We'll be back right after these messages from Circuit World in Blue Ridge with the All-Star Political Panel.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hey folks, we're back. It's time for the All-Star Political Panel. We are at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And so I am your host, BKP. We have Bruce, Rick, and Joanne. Welcome, everybody. You know, I told you in the break that I wanted to, because we have such a great time here on the show, on the panel. And we cover a lot of political stuff, and then we have some fun. And I said, I want the segment to have, you know, I want people to enjoy our segment, but I want to get a little serious today.
Oh, gravitas.
Because I think the country, I just think of all days with us being together, the country is at a crossroads, to be cliche or whatever. We're somewhere. We need to figure out as a country, where are we? And I say this, I've been waiting for the three of you for today for a couple reasons, because we were together on the couch, election night coverage, okay? Now, everybody was in at different segments, but we were all together that night. And we were all together when certain calls were coming in from networks. And now we're starting to see the dots come together, because, Rick, we were kind of, you know, you were searching, everybody was searching, and we were kind of just like, all of a sudden you said, water main break in Atlanta. I mean, we're on the couch.
I got that from my brother up in Chicago.
Right, but we were on the couch, election night coverage, and you're like this, and you look up and you say, they stopped counting in Atlanta. Water main break. They're going to stop counting. And we're like, what? So we find out, and I want to get a couple more things in before we just start discussing it. We find out what was it, a leaky toilet
It
or
wasn't a
something?
leaky toilet.
Right.
It was an overflowing toilet.
Right, that's
Slowly.
it. But it
Slowly,
got
yeah.
it got news coverage, national news coverage, and they stopped counting under the guise of.
Keeping in mind that the State Farm Arena was the largest counting area in the entire state.
Exactly. So we were on the couch together then, and now.
How long did it take them to plug it up, I wonder?
Yeah, exactly. How much
Well,
farther back
there
did they
was
have the stuff down there?
Then we go. Let's switch over to Arizona. Now Arizona, still to this day, the first one to call Arizona was Fox. Okay,
with 8% of the vote in.
Only 8% of the vote in, and people are going to yell conspiracy theory. But wait a minute. So we've had hearings in Pennsylvania, we've had hearings in Michigan, we've had hearings in Arizona, and yesterday in Georgia. So in Arizona,
Nevada too.
No, that was a court hearing. It wasn't.
It was a hearing.
No, I got it, Bruce. I got it. You understand? I got it. You went on a technicality. Put Bruce down for the W, okay? On technicality, okay? Check him off. No, you're right about that. I'm talking about with state legislators and so forth. Okay, so you're right. But out in Arizona, as a computer technical guy was explaining, at 8:30 there was a massive dump of votes. Right, at 8:30, around 8:30, they were able to see this big dump of votes coming in Arizona. Well, what's that put us Eastern time? That puts us at the time when Fox called it, right? Eastern time. Because we were sitting on the couch together and we looked over, they called Arizona?
And they didn't call Florida. That was
exactly.
That
Well, we
was
called
the
it because
big
you looked at me and said, put Florida up.
Put Florida up.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it went on forever.
But the thing is I think some dots are being connected now. And yesterday I thought was real eye-opening. I think every state there's been something come out that's very eye-opening. And yesterday was very eye-opening when we finally got the video for the first time of those suitcases coming out from under the table. What say you?
Well, Kim finally came out and acknowledged that there should have been a signature
audit.
Finally.
But but in the same breath he says, however, that's not my decision.
Exactly.
That should be the Raffensperger's decision. But can I make a broader statement?
You can make make a broader statement. Go for it.
The coverage this week, and you went to the rally in Alpharetta, where Linwood and Sidney Powell, among others, Vernon Jones, and we looked at that and we went, why are they here? And their mantra, remember what their mantra was? Treason, people should go to jail. I listened to General McInerney on several of these pieces.
Yes.
There is a side of me now that's saying, I wonder if they're that far off. Because you can have voting irregularities, as we all know, because of a mistake or something like that. Their position on this whole thing is there were 6 key states that were simultaneously stopped.
Yes, wait, I got it.
And that is treason.
I get it.
That is a contrived effort to control the election and implement the most blatant coup in the history of our country.
And our founding fathers put these things in as a remedy, knowing they could and would eventually happen. And now our elected officials look at us when we say treason. Well, no, that's awful harsh. Now, wait a minute. You don't want to go.
This was a mistake.
Yeah, wait a minute. You can't all go all the time. Wait a minute. Why did the founding fathers put that in there? We have remedies, right? The Constitution is remedies for things like this, right?
My point is, Brian, in closing on that thought, I've kind of come full circle. We laughed a little bit on the phone when you were coming back from Alpharetta and saying, this guy's BS crazy. I'm wondering how crazy some of these people really are, and if they're not just if they're out there and they're onto something, and we just haven't been exposed to something this critical.
Go ahead, Bruce.
In the country being taken down.
But then you follow up with Linwood and Sydney talking about, okay, you know, you guys can't vote in the senatorial runoff January 5th here in Georgia until the system gets fixed, or you have a system you can trust. Well, that ain't going to happen. So where do you go with that?
I don't know that that's the case, because if you listened to the Georgia hearing yesterday, there was a guy who was very brilliant, and he was on for about 40 minutes talking about what controls can we put into place on those Dominion machines if we were to allow the Dominion machines to be used again. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
The black guy, the I don't know his name. There was a black gentleman in there, and he asked the question: if we use the Dominion machines, is there anything that we can do? And he said, yeah, you've got to put segments in place where you can disable all the USB ports so that they can't be jury rigged.
Yeah, well, who's going to make that?
Well, I want to make a clarification for the audience. And Joanne, just don't. I mean, get in when you. This is a get in thing. You know, you're not new here.
No,
so.
she's
All right.
thinking that. I can hear the
you
noise over here.
Let me make a clarification, okay? Because you got close to something. I want to be clear. I went down, okay. I went down to Alpharetta. Was it Wednesday? Linwood and Sidney Powell, and it was sent out as a press release that said it was going to be a press conference. Okay, so I went early, got there 2 hours early. I was on the phone while I was pulling in with you, and stage is here. I was here. I got right there because I wanted to make sure I was there for news. I wanted to break the news to the world, be one of the people that said, "Hey, we got you." It was a campaign rally event. It was. 4,000 people, at least 4,000 people showed up.
Wills Park.
Yes. It was a campaign-style event. Now, I want to be very clear. Linwood has made some amazing points. Linwood has pushed the envelope where nobody... that we should have had other people doing it, but he's pushed the envelope in directions that I agree with 100%. Now, I'm going to go out and say, I think he's crazy as hell, all right? Now, I'm going to say that, and I don't mean that.
That's the way you couched it in.
Right,
nice
but, no. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying his points are all, I'm not saying his points are all wrong. I'm not saying that.
It's killing me.
I'm not saying his points are all wrong. I mean, but I was there, you know. Look, I'm not going to go down that road, but the guy shook the Bible at me, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That, you know, I wish Sidney Powell, and I'm going to give you my reason in a minute, I wish Sidney Powell and Linwood would have done everything they've done except go for the throat on the vote in January 5th. I wish they would have. They could do everything they're doing and be effective and not go quite for the throat. Everybody could bring up, hey, I'm concerned about my vote counting. But they went for Linwood's gone for the throat of it.
There's two.
And does that gut their whole, presentation?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Now, I'm not against Linwood, please. For all I got people.
He is a defamation lawyer, so watch your words.
No, well, I got people upset with me because I've said what I've said.
But Linwood also has voted Democratic, and for him to have said that at this key time, it's almost like this way because he did all of this stuff about the voting and Trump and Biden and the election was stolen, and so now he gets presence in front of huge Republican crowds and tells them don't vote. I mean, now what? I mean, who in the world would say don't vote? I don't trust the machines, I don't know what to do, but I certainly will vote. If they don't come up with some other way, but I do know we could have poll watchers, and we will have plenty of poll watchers at every precinct in this state, and several Republican, and I don't know what, I'm sure the Democrats will be there, but they could actually count at least how many people voted. They can ask people as they're leaving who they voted for, and since there's only 2 people on the ballot, or 4 people on the ballot, most people will answer, and they'll have some tally. I mean, if I say 2,408 said they voted for Loeffler and Perdue, and only 1,812 were recorded, I mean, something's wrong.
I sit here
Tell me about this. Tell me what you think about this theory in regard to what you just said. Linwood, McInerney, and Vernon Jones, if you want, they're all got the same mantra, just like you said. Don't vote. Do you think...
Not Vernon Jones. Don't take that wrong.
No, you're right. You're right.
Not Vernon
You're
Jones.
right.
All right,
You're
go
right.
ahead.
Sorry. Do you think their point is, though, the point that they've been saying is, all of a sudden, everybody has switched, including all the lamestream media, has switched and taken their entire focus off whether there is a presidential race still going on. And all they're saying is, focus on the senators, focus on the senators. What they're saying, in my mind, is, don't just focus on screw the senators. What you need to really figure out is, number one, this is a coup, and number two, we still got a presidential race that we need to figure out. But all of a sudden, everybody's saying, there's nothing to see here about the president. That's over. That's old news. He's history. He's going to go home, and he's going to go to Trump Towers, and Jill's going to paint the house. Okay? That is, I think, what they're trying to communicate. Don't just concentrate on the senators, but there is still a presidential race going on until January 21st.
I agree with that,
20th.
but they don't say that.
I know.
They're very adamant, and now I think Sidney Powell's brilliant, okay? I think she's working on something that's going to be amazing. I really do. So I'm still on board, and where Sidney Powell's concerned.
But she's run out of days to be amazing.
I don't think what she's going to have happen is in the time of days we need. I think you're going to hear Sidney Powell's stuff open up in courts in the next couple years or the next year. Yes, but because I think it's big, and I think she could do some things that are not going to happen in the next 2 or 3 days that she's working on. But Linwood, and I want to get off Linwood, but what I want to make sure of is there's an understanding. I'm not against Linwood. He is bringing out some things. I couldn't agree with him more on, this is 1776 all over again. I agree with so much, but for the throat, and I will say this, I was with 4,000 people. They're upset. He looked at 4,000 people and said, don't go vote. Okay, and these are hardcore voters. So 4 times 10. So did he speak to 40, 50,000 people don't go vote? I'm just saying, I have a concern, okay?
You should.
Now, there's an argument I got from somebody this week. Well, to hell with the Republicans. Give the Democrats majority for 2 years. When we get it back, we'll do this. But it serves them right. I want everybody to remember a couple things. The Senate is the only reason Donald Trump did not get removed from office, not impeached, removed, is the only reason. The Senate being in Republican control. When those phony articles of impeachment went to the Senate, the Senate is the only reason they didn't have witnesses. The Senate is the only reason they didn't change the rule. You're supposed to have 60, but damn those senators, if it had been Democrats, they'd have changed the rule and made 51, throw you out. The Senate is the only thing that stopped these people that love the president from being removed. Now, what is on the news every day? Every hearing you went to, some smart-ass Democrat look at William Barr. Is the president above the law, right? All the time, right? Is the president above the law? Is the president above the law? Give Chuck Schumer majority. And this guy that we love, that we think is the legitimate president for a second term, will be. We're waiting for. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for somebody to get indicted and somebody to go to jail. Give it to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Somebody will get indicted and somebody will go to jail. It'll be Donald J. Trump. Give it to them. Watch, see what the hell happens. They're not in fear. Democrats are never in fear of the results. They don't sit there worried.
Well, they know they're going to have the media with them 100% all the way.
But was Nancy Pelosi in fear of the 2 articles of impeachment? No. Are they ever in fear of what they do next? Hell no. They do it. Do they have the audacity to do whatever the hell they want, Republicans? Yes.
Yeah, look what Schumer said.
So
that one
give,
commercial.
that's...
We get the Senate, we take over
Change
America.
the world.
But I'm telling you now that there's several reasons why they've asked for 2 years. Is the president above the law? No man is above the law.
Can he pardon himself?
Can he right? Go back and play
And
all
the whole
those clips.
family.
Right, Bruce? Give Chuck Schumer, majority leader, and give Nancy Pelosi, they will fix all the rules to where Republicans don't get elected anymore. They'll fix the rules. They'll fix the rules. They will indict Trump. I go out on a limb, they will. So when Linwood says don't go vote, and when people say, well, what's the big deal of giving them the Senate, I have to say, go vote. If you don't want to see Donald Trump go to prison, go vote.
Could we back up a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, here in Georgia, what is he saying about the videos that have come out now?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. He just finally acknowledged that there should be a
no, that's Kemp. Kemp acknowledged.
Raffensperger.
Oh, Raffensperger.
I mean, is he silent? Has he said anything about that? And there's no way Dominion machines are not going to be used. They're going to be used. And, you know, if they have an election in 3 weeks...
Raffensperger didn't come before the Senate yesterday. He sent Gabe Sterling, and he sent Germany, the attorney. Everything now is the attorney for Raffensperger is coming out, and Gabe Sterling. Raffensperger is making comments, but they're very...
Well, okay, your opinion on how this is going to roll forward the next 4 weeks. Come on, you're on the spot now.
What's your opinion of how it goes forward in the next 4 weeks?
I'm getting some text here that's saying people are agreeing with what I said. I just think...
You can say that out loud, that people... Rick wants everybody to know that they agree with him.
Again.
Joanne, what happens in the next 4 weeks? What do you think here?
I honestly don't have a clue. I don't trust any of the systems. I have no idea. And I think most of our listeners and most of the public out there probably feels like I do. It's like they're trying to create this hopelessness. Why keep fighting? And to tell people not to vote, I mean, that's been our mantra since the beginning, since we had the right to vote. And that is, you know, don't vote, don't complain. You must vote. And yet they're destroying our faith in the machines, they're destroying our faith in the court system, they're destroying our faith in Congress. I would almost say that you know, you should say, if you don't want 2 more years and billions of dollars spent indicting Trump, you need to vote for no other reason than to have the Senate be able to stop this merry-go-round, because otherwise we're never going to get anything done. They're just going to keep on fighting the same old battles, and I think most of America is sick and fed up with all of it. But who's going to stand up and fix it? Because you can't trust anybody in Washington. I mean, we send people up there, we spend time trying to find, you know, decent, hard-working people, and they have them for 6 months to a year, and they get some way to control them. And it's, you know, I mean...
Well, it goes back to the core of the country is basically red, and the coastal elites and a few other hot spots scattered throughout the country think they know better.
There was a lot.
And, you know, through just popular vote and electoral college being in those states, it's almost a 50-50 hand every time.
I mean, the 2016 election proved that. I mean, the entire core of the country, the heartbeat of America, wanted change, and they elected someone that wasn't connected to either party. And that blew both, because the two parties are the same. I mean, it never has mattered which one you elected. I only realized that a few years ago.
Exactly.
You spend all of this time, you want the Republican or you want the Democrat, they are the same. There is no difference. There's that, whether it's the deep state or whatever, but those people up there pulling the strings, they control everything and we don't matter. Well, when we showed them that we could elect someone that isn't part of that machine, then they had to corrupt the machines. Okay, they had to corrupt the whole voting system so they could control it. They never realized that the people, the power of the people was that strong. So they had to take that away from us. So now what do we have?
Well, I agree with you 100%, all the way to the point where I agree with you, but when you said the people aren't going to take it, we elected Donald J. Trump, the deep state, as you say, and I agree there is a deep state, the deep state said this will never happen again.
Right.
This is part of this will never happen
Yes.
again. And I got into an argument with a family member. I don't care to say it. We talk all the time. And I will say he, so you figure, he lit my ass up over Linwood because, you know, he is on the side of, you know, it's time to take the country back. It is time.
Dignity, civility.
I will tell you what gets you attacked, and a lot of times I don't want to say people take me out of context, but I'll put something out for a conversation point. Say, I think we have to have 2022. We have to keep 2022 in mind, and I think that they are setting it up. See, when Hillary lost, they never expected Hillary to lose.
Right.
When Hillary lost, all the mechanisms have gone into place for this not to happen again.
Right.
This don't happen again. Okay.
And look how they pushed since
Right.
2016.
This
these
won't
voting
happen
machines.
again. And I will tell you, if they get control of the Senate, they will stack the court.
Well,
they will change the filibuster. They will make a 51 majority vote. Even if it's 50-50, Kamala Harris will be the vote.
They'll take control of the whole voting system.
Right,
now
they
it's
will-
by
they
the
will
states,
federalize
they're
the
gonna take it away-
elections.
Yeah, exactly. They're
They'll
gonna take it
federal.
away from
What
the
I'm saying is they'll put
Obama wanted to do that when he was in office.
Yes.
they'll put the last clicks into place, and they will leave us enough room to feel there's still democracy. Republicans will run against Democrats and lose 52-50, 48. Things like that.
The stuff that doesn't mean anything will get passed.
They will try to make it look like that we're still able to vote.
Well, then you better forget 2022.
But-
you
Yeah.
better worry about January 5th.
Wait, what I'm saying is we got to save the Senate. You can walk and chew gum. We need to not. We need to get the president. We need to get we can do two things. We can multitask. We need to get the president won. Period. Right? He won. Anybody disagree that the president won?
No. I mean, I don't.
The other two, the boys won't talk, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, he won. Okay, so
The president won. Wisconsin should be overturned, not overturned, but it should go to him. Michigan should go to him. Pennsylvania should go to him. Georgia should go to him. Arizona should go to him. It's my opinion. The president won the election. Okay? So we're fighting, we'll use the word fighting, to make sure on January 20th it's him taking the oath because he is the actual winner. But that doesn't mean we got to overlook this Senate thing that we have. Because you also don't want Trump on January 21st with a Democrat Senate and
that
House.
was the point I was trying to make earlier. All the emphasis is being taken off the presidential race, and all it is focusing on, okay, let's get the Senate, let's get the Senate, let's get the Senate. Wait a minute.
That's not. I agree with you,
we
but
still got an issue out
do you
there.
want Trump on January 21st with Schumer and Pelosi leading the way?
Because he'll spend his whole 4 years doing vetoes.
I mean, what I'm saying is we have to do
let's get
both. Bada bing, bada boom. Right. That's what I agree.
Well, you can't do it by people go out there speaking to groups of Republicans and saying, don't vote January 5th.
I got
can't
it.
do it that
I
way.
got it.
One of
We
the
need
things you said
every vote.
earlier is we're fed up. You know how many times I've heard we're fed up?
I agree. My phone's ringing off
We're
the
in the
hook.
central part of the U.S. because the people on the coast are doing,
We don't
handsprings.
take the next step.
Got it.
And that's what I think McInerney is trying to say. It's time to take the next step.
Which is?
When it's a contrived effort to control 6 key states.
I'm with you.
You said earlier, hold on, you said, all of these states had problems. All of the states didn't have problems.
I agree with you.
There were 6 states that were picked out, and that is treason.
I agree with you. When I said all of the states, I want to clarify that because you know what I meant. But no, you're right. You're right. Because there's enough evidence out there to show when the machine shut down, show the dumps.
All at the same time.
Hey, what the hell did we learn from the one guy? They could not the scanners could not mechanically keep up, and that's where they were able to see the document dump. There was no way the scanner could put that many votes. You remember?
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
Who organized the 6-state flip? And with Trump having this cybersecurity force set up and the RNC being aware of potential voter fraud, how did they not catch this?
Okay, I'll say this. I don't have that answer, but I want to say something, okay? The president came on TV every day and said it won't work. He said this mail-in ballots, he said every day, it's a disaster. He's the one, he blew the horn for 6 months in advance saying a Republican will never get voted.
I know he said it, but he couldn't stop it. I mean, it was a ball going downhill.
You couldn't do anything because look. Okay, so how do you stop it? I love your question, but you're sitting right now on real estate that every constitutional office in the state is held by a Republican. So Brad Raffensperger, people get tired of hearing it, he's the Secretary of State. He walks in and sits down with Democrats and makes a friggin' deal and walks out. Unconstitutional. Number one, unconstitutional, walks out.
Wait a minute, why was that unconstitutional?
Because you can't change it without legislation being installed.
The legislators hold the power of election law. We'll leave it at that.
Could you envision a scenario where several of these states, I mean, Pennsylvania, same thing. The governor or the Supreme Court changed how much time you could give for ballots?
The governor did something, it's unconstitutional.
Can you envision, I mean, at a certain point, somebody saying, all these states that did that kind of wacky stuff are going to have to do a redo?
Yeah.
No, they're not going to do a redo.
Like Pennsylvania?
No, they won't do a revote.
Why not?
Because I'll tell you because we have constitutional remedies. Okay?
Okay.
What would happen? What would happen is there wouldn't be a revote. So let's say you get this into the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, we'll use Pennsylvania, says, hey, what happened in Pennsylvania is unconstitutional, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to kick it back to the state legislators, because that's our fix, to appoint the electors. All right? Mm-hmm. Because Article 2, Section whatever, yesterday, if you get a chance, and if you didn't yesterday, go home and go through the hearings yesterday in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, till you get up to Professor Eastman, okay? Professor Eastman did an amazing job explaining. Forget vote count. The corrupt media keeps saying, Georgia's done a recount twice and Biden is still the winner. Biden will never lose the vote count.
Yeah, you're counting bad votes.
Okay? Our Constitution never says whoever gets the most votes. Never says that. It actually gives all the power of the electors to your state legislature.
And that's exactly what happened when they brought him on yesterday.
He did an amazing job.
He's amazing. He is a constitutional lawyer, expert, and a professor. He came on and said, no, you don't need to have what you call it, Kemp, call a special session.
Exactly.
The U.S. Constitution overrules everything in the state.
Right.
Even though the state hold the reins.
Exactly. And so what he's done is he's put these guys in a box now.
I sent some messages to some lawmakers yesterday during the live event. When he said that, I text some lawmakers and I said,
what did you say?
I said, This guy just put the heat on you.
Yeah.
I did. I said he just put the heat on you because
put a spell on you.
What Rick is saying out there, and you're right, man. Professor Eastman says yesterday, because what you're hearing Governor Brian Kemp say, I'm not calling a special session. All right. Then you're hearing House Speaker David Ralston, which is correct, and the Lieutenant Governor, which presides over the state Senate. You're hearing them say, we don't have a supermajority, meaning 108. We don't have a supermajority, and the Georgia State Constitution, this is where it gets important, the Georgia State Constitution says only the executive, which is Kemp, or the legislative body has a supermajority that can call a special session. That's what you're hearing is the reason they can't. Professor Eastman says, bunk. The U.S. Constitution overrides the Georgia State Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution of America does it say, have your state call a special session. The word special session is never there. It says, if you can't determine a winner, and I'm going to use, not exactly, but if I had it, I could quote it, but if not vote count, if you can't determine a winner based on some irregularities, some issues in there, unconstituted, whatever, if your election will not allow you to determine a winner, okay, according to the law and the Constitution, then it's required your state legislature is supposed to assemble and dedicate the electors and vote them in. Doesn't say anything about calling a special session. You're supposed to. So he put the heat on them yesterday, did he not?
So how does an elector in this modern age, in that situation, deal with it, in your opinion? Because, I mean, electors are going to be Democrat and Republican and Independent, right?
No.
No.
No. They appoint. Yeah, Georgia has 60.
Are going to be from a cross section of this state.
No.
No.
Okay.
You're talking about electoral electors, right?
Right. Yeah. Electoral electors. Yes.
Okay. Who are they?
Who the ones they choose? If they call you up and say, Bruce, we're going to name you an elector, will you vote for Trump? Yes, okay. Bruce is
You're
down.
in, Bruce.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
Okay, but, I'm a Republican, I'm an Independent, I'm a Democrat, okay? The electors are going to have political baggage with them.
It doesn't matter. That's what the Founding Fathers knew there would be political,
Shenanigans.
Not shenanigans. Yeah, no, I don't mean that. That things would be party line decisions. That's why, you have party lines, and they knew things would happen on party line decisions. But what you're saying is what they would do is they would get together and they would vote. Maybe I want to be clear on this, and I'll look it up later. And if somebody's out there, when I say electors, let's be clear. Republicans have electors for the Electoral College. And they're predetermined people, because my sister was a Donald Trump. So when you're going for party, okay, if your party wins, then you have 16 state Republican electors, okay, that are actual people with names that go on that day, okay.
Remember last time they were trying to coerce some of these ones that were to change the vote.
But they are dedicated electors to that candidate.
Okay, but if you're
then the Democrats. So right now in Georgia, the 16 electors are Democrats. Okay, if the state comes and says we're going to determine the electors, then I don't think they're tangible people. I think the state of Georgia sends a representative and says we certify all 16 electoral votes for the state of Georgia.
So the 16 Democrat guys sit down, guys and gals.
Yeah, and Republicans.
Okay.
And it belongs to our...
And then the electors the legislature picks are from the legislature. Or they're like...
I don't even know if they're people. No. I think maybe they send a representative from the state that casts all 16.
Okay, and then whatever they cast, I mean, that supersedes whatever the people think. I mean, we'll have...
The House of Representatives can debate that.
We'll have a nice, pretty fire back behind us.
The House of Representatives have to. A lot of people don't realize that next the electors are open, and there can be debate on the floor. And they're
protesting in the street.
Well, whatever. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
That resonates, and it's just not here. People are angry, and that's not a small. No, that's not a small statement. That's not a small statement at all.
Joey said it earlier.
I mean, and it's not here because somebody would say, well, you know, you're in North Georgia and your county went 80% Trump. No. I got teared up this week, and I'll say it this way. I got emotional because I watched Michigan. And the best part about Michigan, and it's not anything against Rudy Giuliani. Rudy's doing a great job. I think he's doing an amazing job. But in Michigan, they didn't invite Rudy. They didn't invite anybody. They only let the people, and they gave him 3 minutes. And I was watching just the black lady, and that's the only way. I'm sorry, don't attack me. The black lady that said she watched a woman come in with 75 ballots, and she just looked at him and said, "There's no way that's all her family
harvesting."
And she just turned them in. She said they came from a parking lot address. And this woman wasn't Rudy Giuliani. This woman wasn't Sidney Powell. This woman was a Joanne. This was a Rick that sat down and said, hey, I worked elections and I really got emotional over that because it was so telling what happened.
Egregious.
Now, let me ask you this. That wasn't Trump, that wasn't Biden. That was where America's, the truck driver. Let's not gloss over the guy that drives truck. These elite people, I'm so sick of these elite people overlooking the American people. The truck driver, he drives a mail route, independent, from New York to Pennsylvania. I've watched his testimony 3 or 4 times. He just said, this is wrong. You know, he's not a political guy. He's driving a truck.
That's the guy that went from Bethpage to Harrisburg.
And then back to Lancaster. Right?
To Lancaster.
And then where did the ballots go from Lancaster? To Delaware County. Now, if you go back and connect the dots on that Wednesday in Pennsylvania, you have the guy that's an IT specialist that talked about all of the thumb drives missing. That was Delaware County. You got a truck driver and delivered the ballots.
That was the Navy officer.
Exactly. These are just Americans. People are angry, and I mean, that is just the simplest way to put it.
Brian, getting back to Pennsylvania
Go back
quickly. I've never, ever heard any more about the number of mail-in ballots that were sent out versus the number of mail-in ballots that were counted. There was a 700,000 vote disparity.
And they took it off the state website.
Why? How does that happen?
Senator Mastriano put it out because he clipped it on the state website, and he clipped it and he put it out. They immediately shut down his Twitter account. Yeah.
As soon as he said that.
And he put it out, and then the state took it off their website. I get it.
The other thing that was compelling to me yesterday when watching the Georgia hearing, did you see the woman that had been a poll worker for I don't know how many years from Sandy Springs?
Yes.
I found that really, that was my black lady moment to me.
I got you.
When she said that she'd been doing this 12 years, and she said...
No, 20. I know.
20 years,
yeah.
Excuse me, 20 years. And she's really made some really cool points. She said, you know, there aren't a lot of people that I'm working with here that have ever been a poll worker before. I've been doing this 20 years. She said, when you're feeling that many ballots, you know the difference when something is different feeling. And I can just visualize that.
And remember she used the example of money? You know a fake dollar.
You know a fake dollar when you got a monopoly dollar. Right. You know that that's just fake. She said, we got stacks of Now, she was asked to come back on the recount. I don't know if you watched it yesterday or not. She was asked to come back on the recount. So they were counting votes that had already been counted once before. She said, here is an example of a ballot that was mailed in. And it was folded 4 times. It was an accordion. She said, we had stacks of
mail-in ballots,
that had never had folds. They were perfect. She said in the middle of the stack, there was even one that looked like it got caught jammed in a printer. You know how you jam and you got to pull that thing out and it's all smeary? Yes. So, you know, that's exactly the way she described it. And she said, you feel these things, and it was just like slick copy paper that you buy at Walmart.
You know, I want to double on that. 2 weeks ago, she submitted a video testimony to the Republican Party of Georgia. And 2 weeks ago, somebody sent me, it's about 9 minutes long, somebody sent me her video and said, do you know her? Is she the real deal? What do you know about this woman? They sent this to me 2 weeks ago, the lady we're talking about. So I said, let me check. So I took her name and I went to some people and I sent it out. I said, who is this lady? Is she real deal? Is she creditable? I mean, give me something back. I got back that this lady's the real deal. All right, she's nice lady, authentic, honest. I got back everything right in line with her. Now, here's what she says yesterday, right? The Democrats have no response to any of this. None. She says yesterday there was 110 ballots and they were perfectly pristine. The circles were perfect, okay? Everything was exact. Now, the argument the Democrats say is, oh, what she doesn't know and she's trying to mislead you is those are duplicates, because if you have one you can't, right, then you do a duplicate, that paper is perfect, it's not folded, this and that, and she's misleading you. Okay, let's go with that. Those are the duplicates. Then she says, hey, out of 110, Trump got 2 votes, the Libertarian got 1, and Biden got 107. So if those are the duplicates on this perfect paper that's never been folded, right? It's pretty damn good, the duplicates that Biden came up with 107, right? No answer at all.
And about 980.
Right.
Okay, but also in forensics, all right, every printer nowadays, unless you've got one that is extremely ancient, and I mean real ancient, it embeds on every piece of paper that it prints a little
it's digital.
Yes.
Code.
Okay. So the Trump lawyers know that. So those original ones that they might have had to make a copy of, okay, but the original ones are somewhere. And if they were all printed on the same paper, because you can run heavier cardstock.
They're asking for a forensic.
Okay. So it'll show that that whole stack of ballots was printed on the same printer. Okay, it didn't come from the State House when they mailed out the ballots. It'd be very simple to determine. And I think that some of the stuff, you know, they haven't shown their evidence, but that would be something very simple in all these states to see if there are absentee ballots or mail-in ballots that all came from the same place.
Bruce, what say you?
What amounts to widespread fraud? Because we have the Attorney General saying they have found no evidence of widespread fraud.
Are you talking about Secretary of State or Attorney
Bill
General?
Barr.
Bill Barr. You went to Bill Barr. Okay.
Just that, with all these incidents we're seeing now, the videos.
We're wondering if Bill Barr's watched the suitcases coming out from under there. That's the question going around.
Yeah.
Widespread.
Is that full of ballots, by the way?
Yes, I have looked over that. I've thought about bringing it over as an example. This is what they look like.
They carry all their gear in. Was that underneath?
You know, there's another thing I love because I watch the news and they'll say President Trump rattled off a bunch of, they're calling it lies. They don't say falsehoods anymore or anything. He rattled off a bunch of lies today, or the president's attorneys rattled off more lies that have been debunked, right? They all say debunked. That's the talking line. Yep. So my shout out this morning is to State Senator Steve Gooch, because they played the video And the woman that played the video said, we got it last night. The media doesn't have it. Nobody has it. So this is the first time it's been played in public for anybody. So this woman, a Democrat lawmaker, when they got done, they opened up for questions, and she said, you know, this has been debunked, right? So it got over to Steve Gooch, and he said, Senator, do you have a question? He says, no, I don't have so much of a question for her. I've got a comment I'd like to address, and I forget the lawmaker's name, and he said, it's my understanding nobody has seen this video until today.
How can
it be debunked? How do you debunk this video? And it made her so angry. So for making the Democrat angry, you win the award. Let's move to a couple more things. We got a little bit of time. We got 9 minutes. We don't have our pet of the week, but
I
there's
just
a couple.
got a call from the Humane Society, but I didn't take it. I don't know if
Well,
they're telling
probably
me.
to say they couldn't get over here.
It could be, yeah.
But anyhow, so let me get this. First of all, we find out yesterday that Fulton County has 2 mobile precincts, voting precincts. They're mobile. It's like the
They come to you?
bookmobile.
They come
Yes,
to you?
got it.
Oh,
Yes, they're 2 mobile. The Department of Justice approved them. They could show up at a nursing home and have a voting precinct. They're 2 mobile. Go look at it yourself. Okay? 2.
Oh, my God.
We have 2 mobile in
Was
Fulton
that part
County.
of the deal Raffensperger agreed
All
to?
right. Here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing that we found out. We found out so much stuff yesterday. Now, is it the State Farm Arena, or is that what?
State Farm Arena.
Okay. State
Formerly
Farm
Phillips
Arena donated.
Oh, yeah.
They donated
Extra
the
workers.
arena to them. Like, oh, you could use the arena. And by the way, we have 300 employees that we're already paying. They can work for you for nothing.
Let's see. Should I popcorn today, or should I go count?
I mean, I did think on that video, I heard the guy say, beer here, beer here. Yeah, but I'm thinking, what the hell? So we have a corporation, State Farm Arena,
A
whoever,
prestigious insurance company.
that donated their facility for an election, and 300 employees that they paid for. I'm like, who the hell paid for these people to work there? I mean, the list of things that came out yesterday.
Are you saying potential wrongdoing?
Well, I will say this. We heard enough yesterday. Now, here's another thing that needs to be investigated, and I think they are. And I heard it in Arizona, Pennsylvania, and I heard it in the colonel testified to this yesterday. And the guy in Texas, what was his name? He was amazing. I think he said 96,000. So what happens
He was a
is-
forensics expert.
Yes. They've identified, because he said identified. So these guys are ready to go in court. What happened is, you got 96,000 people, fact check me. You got 96,000 people that are registered voters that did not request an absentee ballot. They didn't. They didn't vote. They didn't request an absentee ballot. Okay. 96,000. So what happens, he says, is when you scan a voter through that may not be registered to vote, may not be legit, is the system's written to find one of those open legal slots to put that vote in, where it looks like you voted. Now, something else we heard this week.
I heard him yesterday. He was really good.
Okay? Something else we heard this week. There's out in Arizona. They played the audio. You can go listen to this yourself. So the guy from this nonprofit organization, what they did is they took all the, let's just say 250,000, 250,000 absentee ballots, votes. And what they did is they put a team together, a call center. And the call center called you. If you were an absentee ballot voter, they called you and you say, hey, I'm with so-and-so, we're doing a survey, can we talk to you about your absentee ballot? Maybe you hang up the phone. They got 2,500 people. Now keep this in mind, out of 2,500 people that talked to them in their initial investigation, I think it was like 47% that talked to them said they never requested an absentee ballot and they didn't vote. Out of
But
2,500.
the system showed that they did.
Showed they voted.
Okay.
And that was in Arizona.
So why would the Attorney General, William Barr, make the statement that he did? He could have just kept his mouth shut. In other words, there is evidence.
She's asking you a question, William.
Yeah. So, Attorney General Barr, I mean, why did you go public against the president stating that there is no credible evidence to show that there's voter fraud when it's all across the country? Now, whether there's not enough that would have changed the election, that is up to the courts or someone else to decide. That we've just started the tip of the iceberg. But for you to say that was such a powerful statement that I don't think was founded. And why would he have done that?
Do you think some government people on both sides of the aisle are afraid to, be part of this history and rock the boat?
Well, he just made himself part of the history and rocked the boat. He could have just been silent. Nobody asked him.
Okay, but I mean, do you think there's a general apprehension among, let's say, the deep state, people on both sides, that we can't let this country go rudderless past January 20th. We can't abide by that. It's too big a hit on the country. It's too much confusion. Are there people thinking
I understand.
like that?
Okay.
Barr
I realize there's no precedence on this, but the Senate or House or all of Congress or whatever could say extend Trump's tenure 2 months or something, okay? Wow. So not let it go rudderless, and not let him have to stay there in contention
limbo
or whatever.
Yeah.
But they could, because you certainly couldn't let Biden take it for 2 months and undo everything and then have Trump come back. So you could, that's just one possible solution, that they could right now say they're going to extend the presidency 2 months until this can be
But do you
worked out.
think
Or
politicians...
Wait a minute. Let me just say this. When you say there's a possible solution, don't take this wrong. We have a possible solution. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America. There's remedies for everything here. There's discussion on how you handle treason. There's discussion on how you send the electors back. The full power of the electors is in your state legislative body. There are remedies. Now, don't take that wrong, but there's nothing that said. Well, there is something
coming to a decision on treason, against anybody with the court system the way they work. I mean, it'll be years. It will not be a overnight wonder.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me tell you, Barr did two things recently that I thought were very suspect. First is the one that you just spoke of. He will say it was taken out of context. The press secretary will say it was taken out of context. He said there is no credible to date. Okay.
Evidence of widespread fraud.
Right, to date. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing I thought was very suspect was on October 18th, he appointed Durham as special counsel. And what does that do? That gives him total control of all the documents so that Trump can't declassify anything. Now,
it also carries him through the Biden.
Some will say that that's the reason he did it. I'm looking at the cynical side, and I'm saying he did it because he doesn't want some of the documents to come out that he knows will be very damaging to the Democrats. That's just me.
President has the authority at any time to really actually end that special counsel, and that's what was yelled at Trump all the time, and Trump knew if he ended Mueller's investigation,
that's
the
what
backlash.
Schiff was calling for.
But he will if Biden is. We're up against 10, but we're going to go like 5 minutes long, Emily. Bruce, winner, loser, final thought, however you want to use it.
Okay. A couple of things. And I didn't hear everything with the docs this morning, so I don't know where we are with masks and all this. But just an oddball take here. The UK's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Jonathan Van Tam, just came out with a statement saying, folks, to us, really beating this COVID thing. Masks are going to probably have to be worn for several years. So get used to it.
Do we wash it in between?
Huh?
Do we wash it in between?
Anyway, home run. I have a couple here. One, I don't know if the rest of you heard that Walter Williams died on Wednesday.
Walter E. Williams.
Yeah, Walter E. Williams.
I love that. I wondered if that was going to happen. Yes, let's get that correct.
That's right.
Yeah, anyway, so he was a great historian, author.
Economist.
His book, Race and Economics, How Much Can Be Blamed on Discrimination, has ranked fifth among sales on civil rights books 9 years after it was published. So, R.I.P. Walter E. Williams.
That's right.
And the other one I thought that was real interesting is Audi and BMW have both withdrawn from Formula E racing. So they're not going to be in electric car racing anymore because they just don't get any people to watch.
You just hit 2.8% of our listeners.
Hey,
if that valuable
I'm good with
is
that.
for me.
I'm good with that.
There's a reason I put a decimal point. Go ahead.
Okay.
My winner is the guy that received the highest award that an American citizen can receive, and that would be Lou Holtz. Yesterday, getting the American
Good for you, yes.
the Freedom Award. And
Last Notre Dame National Championship?
yes, sir.
1988?
Yes, sir. Against whom? Michigan State. Anyway,
That was for 8.3% of our viewers. Go ahead, Rick.
and then there are just so many losers around. But I'm just going to say, it's going to be Stacey Abrams, whistling through her teeth again. She is now being investigated, as it should have been a long time ago, for voter fraud.
Her group.
Yeah. That she started,
Yeah.
and was once run by Warnock.
We know how to do the investigation. We just don't know how to
finish the investigation. That's right.
Joey, what say you?
Well, I'm going to say the American people, and we have no news source, we have no way to get any information, and everybody just listens to it and stays depressed and feels there's not worth doing anything. And some examples right now of just this morning. I mean, I'm so tired of COVID. I didn't get to hear the doctor's presentation either, but they will say that there was a 75% increase, and which is a true statement
in
some area, okay, in death. But there were 4 deaths, and now there's 7, okay, and that's a 75% increase. But I mean, if they would tell the numbers, but no, they use these percentages to scare people. And the other thing that's really scary is one of the headlines on Drudge this morning is that they've started giving inoculations to some of the healthcare workers, and because of the large number of cases of side effects, they're trying to decide something. I said, side effects, so I looked at the article. The side effects are the sore arm, some have a slight fever, and have achy feelings, just like from any flu shot. But with that headline, that's going to make less people take the COVID shot just because they make that statement.
You assume side effects are going to be all in respirators, right?
Yes, that all of our healthcare workers now, that's why there's such an increased number of beds.
There's a national immunization card that's being developed. Just so
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
I am too.
Good job.
All right, first of all, or the first, second, and third, and I'll be quick.
Oh, come on, man.
This system has a decimal point, and I've watched all of these, okay? I watched Arizona from A to Z, Pennsylvania from A to Z, Georgia, and I've listened to the testimony. The system has a decimal point. So if you want to look at history and just look up 3/5 of a person, that's where we are today, is like the system may have been set for a Donald Trump vote to be 0.25 and a Biden vote to be 1.75. I don't know. A decimal point in the system. Go look that up. Second thing is
fractional voting.
Huh?
Fractional voting.
Fractions. Yes.
Fractional voting.
Yes, exactly. Decimal point. Fractions. 3/5. And second thing there is, my winner is all of you Americans that just step forward, because You know, the other day, one of the Michigan state lawmakers got one question, and she asked the witness her full name, including her maiden name, knowing that a minute that went out, that this person would be harassed, bullied, threatened, in fear, lose their job. So, truck driver out there, Mr. Truck Driver and the lady that watched the stack come in, each and every one of you has stepped forward, thank you. But my big winner is Melissa Carone. Now, Melissa Carone, as we close here, Melissa Carone is I'm going to say this, the sassy little blonde in Michigan that will jump up and kick your ass if necessary. Because she sit there and the guy said the other day, well, there's not a big discrepancy in the poll books. Yeah, so what did you do to the poll book? What did you do to it? I was like, oh my God, I mean, she is
the best answer would have been, it's a trick question.
It's a trick question.
I can't answer that.
I can't answer that. It's a trick, right? She was amazing. She didn't care who you are on that stage. She went at it. So thank you very much. God bless America. And we will go vote. Go vote January 5th. President will be in town in Valdosta Saturday. I can see your finger, Bruce. I'll give you a word here. He will be in town in Valdosta Saturday. So this is not a disrespectful thing, but all you little Trump-maniacs out there, I being one, listen to the president. He's going to tell you Saturday to get out and vote for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. Okay? But don't give up. The election was stolen, and we're going to stop the steal. I'm with you. Yes, Bruce.
Early voting in Georgia starts December 14th, Monday, December 14th.
And the official dead person voting that we're finding, you don't have that one?
And thereafter.
Did you have something?
I do, and it's not even on that, but it's on your decimal points, and it's something that just really upsets me, and that is, do you realize that only 13.8% of the United States is African American, and 18.1% are Latino and Hispanic, okay? And the rest are white American, including white Hispanic, okay? But now all the ads are now 90% black or African American. All of the television shows and all of even the comedy shows have a message now on the racial contention in the United States.
I've been pointing that out to Barbara for 2 years now.
All right, it's 10:08, 8 minutes long. You have a great weekend. We're at Circuit World of Blue Ridge. We all have to be somewhere. We just don't know where, but we have to be somewhere. So do you. Thank you very much. I will be back. FYNTV.com, 8 a.m. Monday morning. Take us out.